Hello, everybody, and welcome into another edition of the Recruiting Rundown here on Gamecock Central. I'm Kendall Smith, joined alongside of Wes Mitchell, back here to recap what was this past weekend in recruiting for the University of South Carolina. And Wes, I know it's been a busy couple of days since South Carolina took on Georgia State on Saturday, but you've heard from a lot of the recruits and the commits that were out at the game on Saturday night. So what was kind of some of that general feedback that you heard from some of those guys?
Yeah, Kendall. I mean, obviously, you were at the stadium. There's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. I think just the atmosphere at Williams-Brice Stadium, we knew it was going to be like that, but I thought the fans delivered. The prospects take notice of that. Like, honestly, they watch games differently than we do. They watch games differently than a fan does. They watch games differently than a media person does. They're more about, what is my experience? Do I get to talk to coach? What does coach say to me before the game? And then, is it a great atmosphere? Could you see yourself playing in this atmosphere? I thought the LED lights, the debut of those was like pretty much perfect. And the kids loved it. You have a lot of guys that were either kind of on different sides of the spectrum, some committed kids that were there and just kind of, they're already Gamecocks through and through. But then I thought the big thing, kind of the trend, several 2024 guys that were on campus, some of them in-state, some of them out-of-state, that were kind of getting their first experience with South Carolina. A lot of them just kind of blown away with that experience.
So you talk about some of those in-state kids, and South Carolina has been doing a great job, especially over the past few weeks, of getting some of those in-state kids to commit. And one of those next big-time targets that South Carolina is really aiming for is Mazio MJ Bennett, 4-star wide receiver in the class of 2024 out of Greenville, South Carolina. So I know that he was in town in Columbia this past weekend. So any updates on how his experience at South Carolina went?
Yeah, I haven't talked to him directly, but I can tell you all this. He is a guy that South Carolina has, I would say, built some momentum with. Like, they've recruited him incredibly hard. He knows how much of a priority he is for Justin Stepp. There's a great relationship there. Carolina did a good job of just getting in on him early, like getting in ahead of your other FBS programs. A lot of them have followed. Alabama has offered him. Like, he has a very extensive offer list. But I just kind of feel like this is one of those guys who sees South Carolina kind of like being home. He has a sister that's at USC now as well, so you've got some connections there. And the recruitment is still ongoing, so you don't want to say it's finished yet. But another positive sign for South Carolina here, they've had him on campus so many times now. The comfort level just continues to go up. And, we'll be efforting getting an interview with him just to get some direct feedback. But, yeah, I think so far so good for South Carolina, Justin Stepp, the whole staff really, and MJ Bennett.
Well, and I'm sure a lot of South Carolina fans are sitting here saying, when are we going to see another welcome home tweet from Shane Beamer? When is there going to be another commit? I know that you probably don't know anything for a fact, but if you had to kind of guess when we might see a couple more of those welcome home tweets coming, whether it's over the next month or so, what do you think that could look like, Wes?
Tomorrow. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Don't say that. You're going to get everybody so excited. And then there's
I think it's kind of interesting. You got 20 guys committed now. Most of your guys that we were just kind of waiting on, thought they might be committing soon, they've all committed. So now you have like those final top targets that are out there that are left. I keep going back to a kid, Elijah Davis. He's a JUCO defensive lineman out of East Mississippi, originally from South Carolina, Wagner Sally High School. I could see him being somebody that just randomly commits to South Carolina, kind of out of nowhere. So, I would say maybe in the next month or so. Generally during the season, it does slow down a bit. Your coaches are more focused on their season. Your high school kids are focused on playing their own seasons. So it has slowed down. You also never know when you might get a random 2024 commitment as well. So, we'll see. This Georgia weekend in a couple of weeks, I think there's going to be a bunch of guys on campus. Maybe somebody just gets blown away and commits then. A couple of other names real quick, Kendall. Montrez Walker is a 2025 linebacker from Buford, Georgia. He was at the game, had a fantastic time. He's going to be a big-time national prospect. Cameron Michael, named to know out of Statesboro, Georgia. He's got a bunch of offers. 3-star guy right now, but I think is more of a 4-star talent. Malachi Tolliver from Cartersville, Georgia. He's a 2024 three-star offensive lineman that was at the game. We've actually already gotten feedback on all those guys I just mentioned that people can go check out on Gamecock Central. Just quick feedback, and then probably, depending on when you're watching this, we will have full interviews up with those guys at some point this week as well.
So you mentioned Georgia, and that's South Carolina's next home game. It's going to be on Saturday, September 17th, and a lot of guys coming out for that game. Yes, it's a noon kickoff, but a ton of South Carolina's priority targets in the 2023 and 2024 classes are coming out. So give us a little tease, Wes, as to who might be making the trip to Columbia for that game against the number one team in the nation.
Well, I tell you, the trend I've already seen is these committed kids, even the ones from out of state, are like making plans to be down here. Desmond Umeazulu, who just committed to South Carolina a couple of weeks ago, making plans to get down here. He's got a 4-star teammate, a 2024 defensive back, already planning to be at South Carolina. Most of the committed guys will be in town. I believe Josiah Thompson, who's the big-time 2024 offensive lineman out of Dillon, will be there. I'm sure they're going to push for Cam Pringle. Have not gotten that one confirmed yet. I'd be pretty surprised if Cam misses this one. South Carolina's involved. Georgia heavily involved with him as well. A lot of these kids, there's some carryover between South Carolina and Georgia recruiting them. So even though it's a noon game, it seems like prospects are already sort of starting to make it a priority to get to this game, which is a good thing, obviously, for South Carolina. Probably going to be one of the bigger visit lists, I think, of the year.
So really quickly before we get out of here, it's a name that people want to talk about because he is such a talent. But do you have any updates on Nicholas Harbor and when South Carolina might be seeing him make a visit to Columbia?
Yeah, so go back and read some of Chris Clark's stuff. He got some great content from Nick Harbor. But that Georgia week is actually the official visit weekend for Nicholas Harbor. That'll be South Carolina's opportunity to kind of just completely lay out every single piece of the plan for him on the field, off the field, after his time at South Carolina. A very conscientious kid, easy for me to say, a very sharp kid, and someone that I think is going to just take a total approach to the process. It's not going to be just about football, as we've said before, Kendall. So I think this is not that this is it, but this is pretty close to being it for South Carolina. Like, you have to blow him away this weekend. But the Gamecocks quietly have put themselves in a strong position with him. I think it's South Carolina, Michigan, and LSU right now. The other sort of interesting piece of that will be, can you show him enough from your track program while he's on campus as well for him to feel really, really strongly about being taken care of on that side as well? And, Kendall, I think some of these recent NIL announcements you've seen from South Carolina with the Park Avenue, where they're going to have essentially agents working for them right on campus, I think that could be important for a guy like Nick Harbor, who's already such a great name and brand. This kid has a lot to think about. It's not the same as somebody who was deciding 10 years ago. There's a lot for these kids to consider these days.
Good stuff as always, Wes. And we know that you will continue to keep everybody updated over on GamecockCentral.com. So if you're not subscribed, be sure to head over there and subscribe. Check out all of our social medias at Gamecock Central on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You're watching this on YouTube right now, so be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like this video, turn on the notification bell so you never miss any content from Gamecock Central. But good times, Wes. It is busy. It is crazy out here in Columbia, South Carolina, but that's how we like it. Football season is
We got it covered, Kendall.
We got it covered. We are ready to roll, ready for Arkansas this weekend and then Georgia the next weekend. Two massive, massive games coming up for the Gamecocks. But Wes, thank you so much. We appreciate you. Thank you all so much for watching. This has been another edition of the Recruiting Rundown. He's Wes Mitchell. I'm Kendall Smith, and we will see you all soon.